Okay, so which one would you like?
Um, Probably number three.
Okay, 3. Now, since in question 3 you have all 3 sides, we need to pick an angle to start with. um, it doesn't really matter which one you start with. A lot of times it's, people like to start with the largest one. So, which is the largest angle?
A.
It'd have to be angle A. So, we're going to do 20. This is, first of all, there's no, it's not a right triangle. So I can't use SOHCAHTOA. There's not a known angle and a known opposite side, so I'm forced to use the law of cosines. So at one end I have 27, and the other end I have angle A. So I have 27 squared there. That's the most important decision that we have. And then I need a 19 and a 24 and a 19 and a 24. What you're creating are 2 chunks of information. We got this chunk of information and we got this chunk of information. Both of those chunks of information need to be moved to the other side of the equation. How does the first chunk need to move? What operation?
Subtraction.
It's correct. So we're going to subtract that chunk to the other side. This one over here is being multiplied times cosine A. So to get it to move to the other side, we have to use division. So now, if you're comfortable with it, you can type 27 squared minus parenthesis 19 squared plus 24 squared. Oops. And then if you're comfortable with that, then you're going to hit the division key, and then it'll produce answer divided by, and then you just do parenthesis negative 2 times 19 times 20. Oops. Did I times 19? Yeah, I did. Okay, times 24 in parenthesis. And then the last thing to get rid of this is just cosine inverse of the answer. But literally, those are the 3 steps you need to solve this question. It's just subtract, divide, invert the cosine. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you will have, go ahead.
So you can do those steps every time.
Yeah, those are the same 3. Now I will say this: if you do a question like number 2, or even number 1, you will not be doing these 3 steps, because in question number 1 we have 2 sides and the angle in between. So we will have a variable on the left side of the equal sign. So number 1's even easier than number 3, because in number 1 I'm just going to add everything up on the right side of the equal sign, take a square root, and I'm done. So number 1 should be much easier to do than number 3. But once you know the 3 steps on the number 3 version, it's not too bad.
So with 76.8.
You know what? Let me grab my machine. I should have been typing while you were typing. It's probably good. 27 squared minus parenthesis 19 squared plus 24 squared in parenthesis divided by parenthesis negative 2 times 19 times 24, and invert the cosine of the answer. 76.8 is correct. Now, you can repeat this whole process with one of the other sides to find one of the other angles. I should say just to find one of the other angles. And once you find that second one, then you can just add those and divide by, and subtract from 180 like we would with in any geometry class. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you go over like
And by any chance, did you watch my videos over the homework problems? There were probably, I had 4 homework problems that were, 3 of them were odds. Did you watch any of those?
I didn't see any homework problem ones, but I watched all the video notes.
Okay, do me a favor right now and jump over to, or open up a new tab in GoFormative and just go to the videos. See how it says right there, the video right below that says it says next video, homework 5, 19, 27, 28, 37. If you click on that one, the very first part of it are homework questions. So if you start watching that one, so you obviously have 19, 27, and 37. Those are odds.
The homework for tonight was only 1 through 19.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. We're gonna get into the other ones, but so yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. All right, what? Give me you. Which one did you say?
Number 5.
Number 5. Okay. So got to draw my own triangle. We got a 55-degree angle for angle A. We're just going to draw a triangle here. B, we got 12 across from angle B. We got angle C with a 7 across from that. Okay. It's not a right triangle. There's no known angle on opposite sides, so we must use the law of cosines. So let's see here. 55 is the angle that we have, which means that little a is on the opposite side of the equation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the most important decision to make. And then I need a 7 and a 12 and a 7 and a 12. This is the easy version of the law of cosines, because you can add everything up. You can just start typing 7 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 7 times 12 cosine 55. So that gives me an a squared value of 96.639 approximately. So all I'm going to do is square root of the answer. So I get 9.83. Now, you know what? I should have checked to see if we even... No, I can't check to see if we... Oh, I can check. Is this going to work? I wonder if I should check for the height to see if it works. So we would have 12, h is equal to 12 sine 55. But the problem with it is I don't have the opposite side to even check. So that ain't going to work. Plus you have to drop down. You have to drop down between the two known sides. Yeah, that ain't going to work. You'd have to drop down between the known sides, and then you don't have angle B or C to check that height. So we don't have to check the height on these. I was just looking at it to see if there would be a reason to check it, but we don't have enough information to check it. Now, once we find that it's 9.83, I don't think there's a way, even if we did that, let's say I did that, now that I know that's 9.83, I bet this works every time, so I bet we don't have to check anyway, but let me try it anyhow, just for kicks and giggles. 12 sine 55. Ooh, that's 9.83. Are we dealing with a right triangle here? it almost appears that we might be dealing with a right triangle. Hold on a second. 7 squared plus 9.83 squared. Wow. We are almost dealing with 7 squared plus 12 sine 55. Oh, no. Wait a sec. We want 7 squared plus 96.639. It is almost a right triangle. Not quite, but it is very close to a right triangle. So it definitely exists because this is just under 9.83. So, whew, that was close. So that must mean that we are dealing with a fairly close angle. Maybe it's like I bet you when we find angle B, we're going to find like 89 degrees or something like that. In fact, we have enough information probably to find angle B, so we can do 12 squared equals 9.83 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 9.83 times 7 cosine of angle B. And so this is the one where we're going to subtract this chunk of information, then we're going to divide by this chunk of information, and then we're going to invert the cosine. So I bet we get an angle that's close. Minus parenthesis 9.83 squared plus 7 squared divided by parenthesis negative 2 times 9.83 times 7. Invert the cosine of the answer. 89.3 degrees. I knew it was going to be close to 90. 89.3 degrees. Whew.
If you, on that equation, plug in the cosine B, cosine C, would it be?
Oh, if you went cosine C, then that would change your equation, right? You'd have 7 squared, because that would be on the left side. And then we would need 12 squared plus 9.83 squared minus 2 times 12 times 9.83 cosine C. So we could have found angle C first by setting it up that way.
The one that's not on either side of it, that's the one that goes on.
Are you asking me what goes at the opposite ends of the formula?
Yeah, that would be the one on the...
It has to be opposite of each other in the triangle. So if angle C is on one side, then 7 has to be on the other. And
then now you can just add up 55 and 89.
Yes, you've got the 55 and the 89.3. So there's no need for me to do that red equation at the bottom. And then I can just subtract that from 180 and find out that 35.7 is my angle C. Now, if we had found angle C first, that's fine. We would have found 35.7. We would have added it to the 55, subtracted it, and found 89.3 for B. So there's really, you could have found angle B or C first. It wouldn't matter. But you had to find angle A, or side A first. That was an absolute must because you had the angle, but you didn't know the side. Does that make sense why we had to find angle A first? Or side A first?
Yeah, because we didn't have all the parts we needed yet.
Right. But once we get that, then we have all three sides, and then we can go after angle B or C.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Those are really the only types of questions that all the rest of them should be just like one of those.
Thank you.
All right. Uh,